There was this guy, big guy, Irish Italian, red face, black hair, jolly son of a bitch. Wait a second. Nobody could make me laugh like him. He made a science of collecting jokes. Closed my bars together and I could count. And he was a pal. I loved the crazy Mick. I'm not ashamed to say that, but he was a fuck-up. He had this image of himself. He thought he was a con man. Always trying to shave the edge. He was nickel and dime. I'll always miss him. Tell me why.
Tell you why what?
Tell me why I miss him.
He's dead?
That's right, he is dead, but tell me why.
How do I know? I don't know why he's dead. Because you killed him.
That's right, I did. I killed him. He fucked up one too many times, so put a bullet in his eye. Then I put two more into him just to make sure. Now, that was somebody I loved him. But I got the call, I put him down like a sick animal. So, if you got doubts about what's gonna happen, if you don't deliver, let me tell you something. Make gravy out of your little girl, just to season that black Irish cocksucker's meat.
A modern day remake of Matthew Vaughn's Lay a Kick, a Coen brothers end up with Timothy Chalamet. A Citizen Kane prequel, a Midnight Cowboy sequel, Alvin and the Chipmunks deserve another squeakquel. There's so many new ways to revisit sideways, but a graphic novel is how we choose to update. But we still hold fast, you can't change the past on the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
On our last N episode of the podcast, we talked at length about the 1959 thriller North by Northwest, the story of a man plucked from his daily life and entered into a world of intrigue, conspiracy, and a political assassination. The film is director Alfred Hitchcock's 50th movie, and among his most famous. This list also famously includes Vertigo, The Birds, Psycho, Strangers on a Train, Notorious, and Rope. Released in 1948, Rope is another of Hitchcock's collaborations with actor James Stewart. Rope is the story of two friends who commit a murder to prove their intellectual superiority, then host a dinner party with the body hidden in the room, testing whether their crime will be discovered. One thing that is distinct about the film is that it takes place in real time, a filmmaking device that inserts the audience into the film, often increasing the dramatic elements depicted on screen. Other examples of movies that take place in real time are Agnes Varda's 1962 film Cleo from 5 to 7, the 1951 drama My Dinner with Andre, the 2013 Clooney Bullock space set Gravity, and this week's film. Greetings, Starfighters. This is Ruined Childhoods. I'm John. With me, as always, is my brother Dan. And on this episode, we're talking about the 1995 thriller Nick of Time, also the story of a man plucked from his daily life and entered into a world of intrigue, conspiracy, and a political assassination. Dan, how relieved were you when you found out that Johnny Depp's character wasn't named Nick?
You mean relieved or disappointed?
Oh, were you disappointed?
No, I'm not disappointed, only because Johnny Depp's character's name is Gene, and it's the best. I love it. I love it the way Christopher Walken says it, as I love the way Christopher Walken says everything, especially in this movie.
Christopher Walken turns it on in this one, for sure.
Christopher, all right, so yeah, Christopher Walken. You know, it's funny. There's a great anecdote that Barry Sonnenfeld tells in his memoir, which I referenced on the Out of Sight episode. It's Christopher Walken talking about how he approaches a character, and you know what's funny though is I didn't bother to write anything down. I took a screenshot of the audiobook timecode on my phone. The audio, and it was a borrowed audiobook via Libby.
Hey, Libby.
Hey, Libby, and I've got another public library shout out coming, but the
ditch Amazon-owned Audible. Use Libby.
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. But just, I remember it being something where he takes all of the pages and he just kind of puts them out And I also remember hearing, I forget if it was on like a commentary track, but this is a story I remember hearing or reading years ago where he takes out all of the punctuation.
Right. I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just kind of figures, and it's like, he just kind of like, it's not like he goes from the inside out. It's more like he goes from the outside in how he approaches these characters. And you know, what's great about Christopher Walken, among many things, is that he's a wonderful actor.
Yeah.
He is not just the Deer Hunter, but Catch Me If You Can, other pieces where he actually inhabits a character and plays it wonderfully. He also is he's like Samuel L. Jackson in that I will also pay money and spend time to watch him just do his thing.
Right. Right.
And whether it's Nick of Time, The Rundown is a favorite of mine with Dwayne Johnson, Sean William Scott. His monologue about...
I haven't seen that one.
He does a bit about the Tooth Fairy, and we'll leave it at that. And it's fabulous. It's one of those like where a Christopher Walken stepping in and doing exactly what he does in this movie it just makes it better and more enjoyable.
I love him in The Dead Zone. He's so good.
There we go. That's another like acting he's
acting and him doing his thing.
Well, he's okay. So he's always, even in Catch Me If You Can, he's doing his thing, but he is also, he's doing the character work on top of it. When he does something like Click or Nick of Time,
right.
I don't think, I think he's more just like, all right, what am I getting paid to do? And I also think this is coming at the beginning of that.
I will also say that a movie where, and that could be true, a movie where he's acting, where you would expect him to be less acty and more Christopher Walken-y, Wayne's World 2.
Yeah, he balances it in Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
He really does.
Very measured. Wow. He's not over the top.
But he's still
overemphasizing the voice.
No, that's such a good call. And I think it's probably why, like, and there's so many, he's appeared in so many movies and we've talked about him, Things to Do in Denver, When You're Dead is the one that comes to mind most prominently, which we talked about last season. But yeah, so and this is that period of time because you've got True Romance in 93 where that his scene with Hopper is legendary, and he's there, like he's definitely playing the character, he's playing the role, but he's bringing in the Walkenisms of it,
right?
Like, doing like the little shadow boxing and
so good.
I mean, that scene is just a study.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you got Suicide Kings, 10 things or Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, not 10 Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. 10 things I hate to do in Denver when you're dead. About you when you're dead. About you.
I don't know. I've never met anybody who doesn't like Christopher Walken.
No. And John, you know, I have had a personal encounter with Christopher Walken.
Have you?
Yes. So
hopefully you weren't on a boat.
Oh, no, that would be awful. No, it was in front of the theater. I was a chaperone of I think Scott, our brother Scott, might have been on this trip. It was a field trip to go into New York City and see the musical adaptation of James Joyce's The Dead, which John Huston had previously adapted into a film and then was turned into a musical starring Christopher Walken.
Right.
A trained dancer.
Yeah.
As we all
Why do I feel like I saw this?
You might have been on that trip. I don't remember. All I know, it was a ticket to see a Broadway show.
Yeah. And I think I was there.
My responsibilities were just like, I had a group of kids that I had to make sure I didn't lose, and that was it. And we were
Right.
standing in front of the theater, and it was I think before we were going to go in, I don't know, and we were doing and I was like standing kind of closer to the curb, and I was looking around, and I was like, okay, like that one, that one, that one, that one. And when I turned, like someone was getting out of a cab, and I kind of almost walked into them, and it was Christopher Walken.
Did you brush shoulders and then he told you not to play ice hockey?
Oh, good one. Good one.
Thank you.
It was no. I think it was really just like, oh, I'm sorry. And he, excuse me. That was basically it. And it was like, there wasn't there was no emotion. He wasn't like pissed. This was not the time that Elaine Stritch called me a twit. Another outside of a Broadway theater story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I remember that. And he's a big guy. Like he is an imposing person. And
totally.
I've also seen him, like I saw him, another show I saw him in on Broadway, which was magnificent, called A Behanding in Spokane. It's a Martin McDonough play. And actually, Sam Rockwell was in it.
Really?
It was Christopher Walken.
We'll be talking about Sam Rockwell another time.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell, Anthony Mackie, and Zoe Kazan were that was the cast. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. This was like 2009, maybe.
Okay.
And it was also around that time, or maybe like a year. It might have been like 2010, because we were living. I was living in Manhattan, and I remember we were sitting at our favorite like Sunday morning bagel shop.
Okay.
Bagels and Company, 79th and Columbus. Okay. And we were sitting, and you could, see out the window, and who came walking by.
There you go.
I had to. Christopher Walken on his way, because I think the show was still running, on his way to do the show. So he's
Very
also
cool.
done. Have you ever seen the videos of him cooking chicken?
I don't think so.
Yeah, check that.
I tend to avoid, as somebody who doesn't eat meat, hasn't for a very long time, I avoid videos of people cooking with animals.
Fair enough. Well, for anyone who is interested and not opposed, Christopher Walken just did some like home like cooking videos, and it's like, this is how I prepare chicken breast, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
and it's fun, but so Christopher Walken is fun, and I kind of think Nick of Time is fun.
Nick of Time is fun.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not going into it being like, all right, here we go. It's high cinema.
And
this is greatest.
And this is where I finally, and actually maybe I might have talked about this on the Saturday Night Fever episode, but John Badham, the director of this film, when you see one of his movies, it doesn't say a John Badham film or a film by, it's a John Badham movie. And I feel like I remember it from The Hard Way with Michael J. Fox.
Right.
James
Woods.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
I know you were trying to avoid it. It's fine.
Yeah. Annabella Sciorra. I think it's Annabella Sciorra who's in it. Anyway, but I remember it's a John Badham movie, and I was like, you know what? Because that's what this guy does. This guy is like, his movies are the 2.5 to 3 stars on the Star Ledger 4-star scale. Popcorn, fun. I've got 90 minutes
Saturday
to kill.
Night Fever
not
is
Saturday,
perhaps like
not Saturday
the
Night
biggest
Fever.
Exception.
War Games.
But
I'm thinking like, let's start
War
with
Games. War Games. I mean, we've actually covered quite a few of his films. We did War Games.
Did we do War Games?
Saturday Fever. Didn't we do War Games?
I don't think we've done War Games.
Oh, that is an oversight then.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
We'll have to look into it. But the very first movie we did was Short Circuit.
Yes, also a John Badham movie. And I don't know.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm saying like credited. I'm pretty sure it says it when you like look at the poster. I don't know. Let me look up the poster here.
A John Badham movie. We did do War Games, Dan.
We did. Wow.
let me see if I can quickly.
No, it says a John Badham film on the poster of Short Circuit.
September 10th, 2022, we did War Games.
No kidding.
Well, that's when we released it. So there you go.
Wow, that's apologies to War Games, but I don't remember.
Well, and also we are recording this. This is our 294th movie that we're covering on the podcast, and it's easy to maybe forget ones that we've done, 3 years ago.
Okay, so the poster for this, maybe it's just in the movie, or I don't know. Maybe that's something he just started with maybe the hard way. I don't even know if he does it for Nick of Time, actually. Oh, Drop Zone. That's another one that's a John Badham.
I wonder if I ever saw Drop Zone.
So Nick of Time the poster says a John Badham movie.
Okay.
Drop Zone, I saw it for the first time not too long ago, and you know what it is? It's a John Badham movie.
There you go.
It's got...
Yeah, he did Point of No Return, Bird on a Wire. That's a movie.
Oh, that's definitely... Yeah, I remember I saw Bird on a Wire. That was the first ticket stub I kept in my ticket stub collection.
I've never seen Blue Thunder.
Good movie.
But Roy Scheider, Malcolm McDowell, Daniel Stern...
It's a
John Oates, Candy Clark.
Totally a John Badham, 3 stars on and I have to specify it's the early to mid 90s, Star Ledger, New Jersey, 4-star scale.
Yeah.
That worked its way into my brain.
Okay, while we're on the subject of John Badham, I noticed on his Wikipedia page that it links to a website, johnbadham.com. And I was like, interesting. You don't see a lot of just major movie directors that have just personal websites. And, it advertises his books and stuff. He also has a directing reel on there as if he just graduated from college and is trying to get a job.
You trying to get jobs?
I don't know, but he's got a 3-minute.
If you've got a business and you're looking to make a commercial, it sounds like John Badham is that you could have a John Badham movie to advertise your
and it's
business.
It's funny because it's it's got shots from his different movies, and it's all set to a some hip hop song that uses Staying Alive.
Okay, of course.
So it's really fascinating that John Badham, who's been directing movies since the 70s, I mean, any earlier than that? I don't know when the earliest. 76 is his first movie. 71 is his first television,
So freaking Saturday Night Fever, his second movie, which is iconic. And Stakeout. Let us not forget Stakeout in that, which is also credited as a John Badham movie on the poster.
Okay. And another Stakeout.
Yes. With Dennis Farina's in that one.
Okay.
We love Dennis
so
Farina.
John Badham, currently 85 years old at the time of this recording, hasn't directed a movie since 1997's Incognito.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
You know what else is interesting? Point of No Return on the poster, John Badham film.
Oh, interesting.
It was meant to have more prestige, being an adaptation of a French film.
Okay,
Nikita.
Perhaps. So I guess his last directing credit would have been what is this? The television series Siren on Freeform.
And he directed the HBO. And this is HBO movie because this is from 99. The Jack Bull.
The Jack Bull. His
Western
most
with
recent
John Cusack.
TV movie was the TNT movie Evil Knievel. So there's that.
Yeah, looks like he did.
Fascinating.
Looks like he's been doing popping in and doing episodes of some series. Did 6 episodes of Psych. Did 3 episodes of Nikita, so on familiar ground. An episode of the TV adaptation of Rush Hour? What?
So he's got 2 different reels. He's got one for dramatic television from 2018, another 2018 director's reel, and then I don't know what year this other director's reel is from, but I hope everything's been okay for John Badham. I mean, it's been quite a while since he's at least directed anything that's shown up on, that's being where he's credited. But I don't know of any reason
Right.
that I haven't seen any reason why he would be in like director's jail or anything.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking that. I'm like, it's not a, like you think of other directors of the era and it's like, well, like John McTiernan, for example, is someone who,
Oh yeah.
higher highs even. But we know legal troubles and there's a whole bunch of stories there.
Totally. Yeah.
Intrigue, espionage with McTiernan. Right. But yeah, John Badham, there's nothing about him being like difficult. He's doesn't have like even and I mean, David O. Russell's still working, but like, just an example of a director who we've heard a lot of stories about being difficult with. I haven't heard that from John Badham. He doesn't seem right.
John Badham does not have a controversy section on his Wikipedia page.
All right, so this might have to be a little research project to embark on. Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, but I didn't know that his sister Mary Badham was Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird.
In To Kill a Mockingbird, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had no idea, and I'm surprised this hasn't come up because we've covered at least 3 of his movies.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
now 4.
I guess
now is the 4th when it's coming up.
Right. But, I don't think we've necessarily talked about him as much. I mean, shit, I don't even remember recording War Games, but
yeah. Well, I think that with Saturday Night Fever, there's so much more to talk about.
Right.
With Short Circuit, that was our first episode. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
No. We were talking about talking about the movie, and it was more. We were definitely more about the what do we do next? But we're 20 minutes in. Should we get down to
Well, one other thing I want to say is that 2 of the 3 movies that we've already covered for John Badham, War Games, which I'm telling you right now we did,
I trust
and
you.
also Short Circuit are 2 Pacific Northwest movies where you and I both live, right. And I feel like that's kind of cool that it's a part of the world that this English director has come back to.
Stakeout, all set in Seattle.
Is it really?
Yeah, and I think another Stakeout is like Lake Tahoe. I'm pretty sure. I don't think another Stakeout is set in Washington State, but the original Stakeout is set in Seattle. Which I mean, the last time I watched Stakeout, I didn't live in Seattle, nor had I ever been to Seattle. But so, and I think I've been holding off on that one because it feels like inevitable that we'll eventually do it. I guess not this season because we've passed S twice.
Yeah, we've talked about doing it. But yeah,
it's just one of those that's like constantly there, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it now. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah. So yes, but going to Nick of Time, a Los Angeles set movie. We've got a character who's coming up from San Diego. Dan, why don't you give us a little synopsis?
After arriving in Los Angeles for a business meeting, CPA Gene Watson and his daughter Lynn are approached by Mr. Smith and Ms. Jones, who claim to be police. What Gene soon finds out is that their plan is to hold Lynn hostage, while Gene brings a gun into the Bonaventura Hotel and kills Governor Eleanor Grant. Understanding that he's in a no-win situation, Gene does whatever he can to escape, save his daughter, and maybe even spare the life of the governor. As Gene Watson, we have Johnny Depp. Christopher Walken plays Mr. Smith. Roma Mafia plays Ms. Jones. As Huey, Charles S. Dutton. And as Governor Eleanor Grant, we have Marcia Mason.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out I know I foreshadowed another library shout out here. I was able to stream this movie on Hoopla. So while you're cutting certain chords, I'm sure most of what you could find or not find on, let's say, Prime Video, you could also find on Hoopla, one of two streaming services that John and I both use that are free. At least our libraries offer them. And John, one thing I was thinking because I love scrolling through the selections because sometimes I find a surprise in there. And I just wish, because I remembered, I was like, I wish that the interface did a little bit more to replicate the feeling of renting a VHS from the library. Like, I want the brown clamshells with the yellow. It makes me think specifically of renting Beetlejuice from the library.
Interesting.
That's the one I think of. Yes.
Yeah, I will say, currently when I go to the library and look at the movie selection, we do not have faded weird clamshells. It's all the actual cases.
Yeah.
Something that's also cool about definitely Canopy. I'm not sure about Hoopla, but for me, I happen to live in an area where I am eligible to not only have a library card for my county, but also the neighboring county, because they're so close together. I can, be a member of both. And so with Canopy and possibly also Hoopla, not every title is available for every single, region. So certain movies, if I see that it's available, I'll look and it's not there. But if I switch it to the other library card, because you can have multiple library cards on your account. If I switch it to that one, then I'll see, a bunch more just popped up. So it's really cool. And so you mentioned Amazon also for anybody who's ditching Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah.
After everything that recently has been going on with Stephen Colbert and CBS, which I recently just canceled, and I'm going to be using the money that I was spending on that to donate to NPR. That's my move, because they can absolutely go to hell.
As soon as I can, you know what I need is, I just need to find a way to supply my son with Paw Patrol and
Was that
Go
only on-
Diego Go. Well, it's not,
but
it's, I'm sure I could I'm sure I can find DVDs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
physical media.
Yeah.
Why not?
Totally.
So, but,
Or buy them on, I know Apple's just another big corporation, but if you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's just like buy them there and then you can stream them the same.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm trying really hard that with my spending my pocket money, so to speak, is if I'm buying media, if I'm buying something digitally, it's something that's like, okay, the only reason I'm buying this is it's like $5 on Apple, and I'm just getting it because it'll make it really easy for me to use when I'm teaching. So
Totally.
But also, so I'm really trying to if there's a movie that I'm I'd really like to own that, I try to find, I don't need a collector's edition, for Out of Sight. I did not get the Criterion collection, but I got a, of course I did it through Amazon. So, all right. But, bought myself a copy of it because it's I don't want to run the risk that because, flip of a switch and it all goes away. But if I own it, I own it.
So, okay, this is a plug for another podcast, but I've mentioned this before. I was on a podcast that came out a few months ago called Rediscovering Movies, or is it Rediscovered Movies? Ooh, I hope I didn't get that wrong. But it's a really fun podcast, and I was on it to talk about the movie Eddie, also from the mid-90s, I think 96, the Whoopi Goldberg basketball movie with Frank Langella, who was also in Dracula, directed by John Badham.
A John Badham film.
Right, very much so.
And it is Rediscovered Movies.
Rediscovered Movies, yeah. And so we talked about Eddie, and I'm going to be recording another movie or another episode for another movie with Rediscovered Movies. And let's just say it's one where I'm really dancing around purchasing the Vinegar Syndrome recent like 4K release of the Blu-ray for this particular movie. I'm not going to say what it was, but I can tell you, Dan, when we stop recording. But it's one where it's like, I don't know how much I'm going to rewatch this movie, but it has a lot of interesting special features and commentaries and interviews and stuff that like, ooh, what do they have to say about this movie?
Right. Yeah.
And so I really enjoy, if I am going to be purchasing a Blu-ray, I'm probably not going to get one where it's like only the movie. I want to make sure it has
right
a little something else.
I should add that but before I purchased the out of sight Blu-ray, I double checked to see that the commentary was on there, and then I also double checked the Criterion, which seems to have the same commentary.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If it's the same exact thing, and
right,
you don't absolutely need any sort of like remastered version or something, then
no, this was it's got like a good little documentary and so it, and it was $9.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Nick of Time.
Nick of Time. All right.
Yeah.
Fun movie, 1995.
This episode is not taking place in real time.
No.
We are jumping all over the place.
No, we're going to get down to it though. We're going to kill it. All right. Yes. So Nick of Time comes out in 1995. Which, so I want to say it was fall 1995. I don't have the exact date in front of me.
November 22nd.
There we go. I did not see it in theaters, most likely because this was college. This was my first semester of college. I didn't have a car on campus, so I wasn't getting to the movies as often. And when I was also entering the kind of like film snob phase.
Oh, yes.
So like the movies I was seeing in fall 1995 in theaters were The Usual Suspects, Seven, Casino, later that fall and winter, like Leaving Las Vegas, Dead Man Walking, stuff like that. So Nick of Time, I remember it was marketed around the whole, like, it takes place in real time.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing is 90 minutes, 6 bullets, no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember it marketed around that, but just like, I didn't really have much interest in it. And then I watched it on VHS and it was fine and it was fun.
I think that I first saw it probably maybe 10 years after it came out on DVD. I don't remember it being something that I was like jumping to go see, but it's a fun like popcorn thriller. And I'm glad that I watched it again recently for this podcast because it's, I don't know, I'm able to watch it just looking to have a good time and kind of enjoy the weirdness about it. Also, it's like, Johnny Depp has just fallen so far from grace, and to revisit these movies where it's like, this is maybe the best he's ever looked, and he's so charismatic, and you want him to win so badly, and you just like buy him as Gene Watson in a weird way. And so it's fun just to like, watch him at a time when like he didn't have, scandals around him, and also just
baggage.
Like all of these stories, and
he had some. I mean, there was some at this point, having been having been close with River Phoenix and his volatile relationship with Winona Ryder. We all remember the Wino Forever tattoo.
Oh yeah.
But Johnny Depp at this point is also, he's at a stage in his career where I think the movie business is trying to figure out what to do with him. And because also, so in 94, he's got Ed Wood. I mean, he does Edward Scissorhands in 1990. So Tim Burton kind of is already showing like, hey, I know what to do with this guy, before it just came down to like silly hats and weird voices. But
yeah. Well, I mean, Benny and June, What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
Jarmusch, Dead Man.
Those are 93.
Comes out in 95, right? Right. So
Which one?
What's Eating? Sorry. So going back. So 93 is significant because What's Eating Gilbert Grape is really big.
It establishes him as a serious actor.
Right. No more. He's getting away from the teen heartthrob bit, like the 21 Jump Street, which actually I think the kind of the 1-2 punch of Crybaby and Edward Scissorhands does a really good job of starting.
Well,
that process.
he's aligning himself with fringy directors.
Yeah. And continue in Lasse Hallström doing What's Eating Gilbert Grape. What else did he have in 90? Oh, Benny and June.
Benny and June, an Arizona Dream.
Benny and June, shot in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
And then in 95, Jim Jarmusch, or is it Jarmusch? I don't know.
Well, I mean, 94, we've got Ed Wood, and then yes, Jim Jarmusch with Dead Man in 95.
Which is a really interesting movie. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
That's one. Yeah. Anyway.
We've also got Don Juan DeMarco in 95.
Oh, right. Yeah. And that's another kind of like leading Manny, but also kind of weird.
Very weird. Marlon Brando.
I saw it once. Marlon Brando, Faye Dunaway.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty good Bryan Adams song. Tell me, have you ever really, really, really ever loved a woman?
Was that like for that movie, or was it just like used in that movie? It was for the movie.
I'm almost certain it was written for the movie.
Amazing. That was that time when like Bryan Adams wrote songs for movies.
Right. Well, I mean, that's also not to go off on too far of a tangent, but like if we're going to talk about Bryan Adams writing songs for movies, All for One from the Three Musketeers soundtrack with Sting and Rod Stewart. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Ace Face and the Face of the Faces and Ace Face from Quadrophenia.
I know what you're saying.
And Rod Stewart was of the Faces. God, and then just fucking Bryan Adams. So yeah. And then you've also got Walken at this phase of his career where he's becoming this like, audience favorite who's really getting into like what he's doing.
Right. I really enjoy this era of Johnny Depp, the pre-Pirates, era.
Yes.
And where he's just like kind of deciding, oh, I'm just going to really let my freak flag fly, and I'm going to embrace all of the aspects of my life as a musician as well, and
but more
I don't know,
genuinely and less look at me.
Right.
I'm wacky Johnny Depp.
Right. So yeah, Nick of Time, you have him as just like an accountant.
Gene.
His name is Gene. He's he's going through a divorce, and he has a young daughter who he has to take with him on this trip to LA for a meeting of some sort, because Zoom wasn't a thing at the time. And, and of course he very quickly finds himself in this like impossible situation where his daughter is taken by these people who he thinks are the cops. And he's told, we're going to kill your daughter, who's like, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're going to straight up shoot her if you don't kill the governor. And then as we go into it, we discover how deep this actual plot goes and who is really involved.
How high up the ladder.
How high up it goes. And, yeah, and it's really fun to kind of watch him try and figure out, he's not, it's not like he is motivated to figure out how to not kill the governor for any other reason other than to save his daughter. That's really what it comes down to. And especially when he realizes, oh, if I actually do this, you're going to kill me anyway. And then what life is that for my daughter? Like, what are you actually going to do with her then? So,
right. And
yeah.
And, I'm looking up because I know, I couldn't remember if it was, somehow in my memory, it was that, his wife had died.
I thought it was divorce.
Do they ever? I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. and it doesn't specify it.
I was pretty sure that it was okay. So
Does he
according
mention
to the AI overview on Google, in the movie Nick of Time, Johnny Depp plays Gene Watson, a man who is divorced and has a daughter, Lynn.
Okay.
Recently divorced. Oh wait.
Recently
Okay.
divorced widower, does it say?
Well, it's funny because there's something that says Gene Watson is recently divorced from his ex-wife who has recently passed away.
Oh,
Make
you
up
know
your
what?
mind.
Hold
This
on.
is very confusing.
No. Actually, hold on. I think that is accurate. I think, no, he had been, I want to say it was something like, I think he was like, they were going to get divorced.
Okay.
And hold on, that, believe it or not, that actually, I think that sounds accurate. I don't know what, none of the synopses I'm looking at are telling. It only matters to the effect of, like, you know, the question of what type of life does his daughter have after that.
Okay.
And I was pretty sure, like, going back, like, I'm pretty sure, like, going to be with the mother wasn't an option.
So I'm looking at the script right now. And San Diego better opportunities there. What? I wouldn't know. I don't live there. I just went down there for a funeral. Somebody close? Somebody goes to, yeah, it was my wife. Well, ex-wife, soon to be ex. She
Yes.
wanted a divorce.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. It's
that's
both.
so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder
So
if, like, they
weird.
couldn't decide. Although
They
to
just
me,
left it all in there.
to me, it seems like, you know, as a writer, I would say making him a widower makes more sense because it would make him even more protective of his daughter, the only link he has left to his wife. And
Right.
that also that it's not like he can sacrifice. It's not like he can call her and be like, Lynn's trapped or something. And
Well, yeah. Well, what's also fascinating about it is he doesn't need to say that they were going to be getting a divorce because, like, that's moot now.
right. But I mean, I don't know.
He
I guess
didn't-
I'd write
that
it off
didn't
to,
have
like,
to be part of it.
the emotional pain, and that, like, if somebody's gonna open the tap a little bit, the water pressure's
Right.
coming out all the way. Like,
Yeah.
like, you're getting the full story because this guy is, like, I mean, he's keeping it together pretty well for somebody who was going to be going through a divorce, and then it sounds like was not his choice per se,
Right.
And
Yeah.
and like that she was like, you know what, like, anyway, there's a lot of
So he's been
questions.
going through it.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
got he's not having a good year.
Yeah. Look, and we'll put the cart before the horse here. This is not the backstory I want to explore here.
No, not at all. There's so many different directions we can go with this, but
Yeah.
I really want to talk about Charles S. Dutton,
Yes.
who is, like, I don't know, the real hero of the movie, I think.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
the shoe shine guy who, without him, you know, this would not have gone well for anybody. And using his ins at the Bonaventure Hotel is able to assist Gene. And it's like, there are a lot of ways in which it's fortuitous that Huey is the person that Gene aligns himself with. Had he tried with, like, the bartender or something, things might not have gone so well. But the shoe shine guy, you know, who's a veteran,
Right.
was able to, you know, convince Christopher Walken's character to have this a conversation with him because, you know, he's telling him that the shoe shine guy is deaf, can't
Right.
hear a word that he's saying.
Right. Well, the
Like-
whole aspect of Huey's being a veteran, I really recognized it as being important, not only in that it comes back later when
Mhm.
I guess, do we want, you know, I'm going to avoid, because this is probably a movie a lot of people haven't seen.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Yeah.
anyway, let's just say that it sets up things that figure into the, like, climax of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It allows Gene kind of use that to get Walken to talk so that Huey can hear what's going on and believe Gene.
Right. Totally.
And it also, I mean, there's that little bit, there's that just that aspect of it that just says, okay, this person, first of all, they're a soldier, and they might have like that on that, like, you know, that honor, and
do
that,
what you
like,
can for your country, and
right, be all you could be, and that, like, you know, in its most positive sense, that the fact that this person, you know, served in battle and fought in wars maybe means that they're not going to shy away from a conflict here.
Right. Yeah. So it all works out, and Charles S. Dutton, I feel like, is just really awesome.
I mean, and also at this point, like, Charles S. Dutton was such a go-to guy, and, you know, I don't know if it's I don't know if the show is streaming anywhere, but for any of you who have never seen the sitcom Rock that starred Charles S. Dutton, I have not seen it since it aired, but I remember it being on Fox in the 90s. And when we were really starting to see the growth of black-led sitcoms and shows that depicted, you know, the lives of black people, and, you know, expanded it beyond the Cosby Show, which I guess if I can break in here, just a Malcolm Jamal Warner, rest in peace.
Absolutely.
What a loss. We're recording this one day after his death was reported. But anyways, Charles S. Dutton was, you know, another, you know, one of those father figures and one of those actors who broke a lot of ground, and such an experienced and versatile stage actor. In this era, he's in Alien 3.
Right.
He's got Rudy.
Well, and I was going to mention Rudy because he plays a pretty similar type of role, you know, the magical Negro, the person who comes in and, like, makes things happen for the white character, both in Rudy and in Nick of Time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was also in another movie that we covered on the show, A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
So he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles, wonderful actor and great character. The other another actor who we got to talk about here, who's definitely more associated with her work on TV, Roma Mafia.
Yeah.
Like, so great, just so anachronistic in the Los Angeles setting because she's just so New York.
Right. Yeah. I think that if you are definitely just more familiar with her other work, then yes. I was not as familiar with her other work, so she felt authentic to me in this setting.
Oh no, I'm saying she's authentic, but you could definitely tell, like, her character is not from Southern California.
Oh, yeah.
Not that her character is supposed to be, like, these are not,
well, I mean,
they're not
Christopher
locals.
Walken. Well, Christopher Walken also, like,
well, yeah,
you know, is very New York.
Christopher Walken is his own, from his own, has his own accent. But I do love Roma Mafia in this, and the balance of, like, where she's just barely keeping it together. She gets stuck babysitting the kid, and what I like about her is it's like, yeah, you could tell she definitely got stuck with this because she's the female in the equation, but she would much rather be.
Well, and I will say also that, like, Christopher Walken's character, was it Mr. Smith or something like that? Like,
yeah,
the ways that he is, like, everywhere, I don't know, it works really well for him.
Yeah,
and just his look. You know, if you see him from across a hotel lobby or something, and he's standing there, I feel like his look signifies more than like Roma Mafia's
Oh,
look would have been.
No, I agree there. It is like in terms of, the everything else. Yeah. But it's just, I like, that her character isn't just like, all right, we need to bring along a nurturing mother figure to be the babysitter. It's just like, all right, and also like he's clearly older, Mr. Smith, and has more of the,
I think that just in their line of work, he has seniority. Yeah. When they are at the train station and they're kind of like looking at people and trying to decide who to, use for this, it's established that like, he's been doing this a long time and he knows how to read people better.
Right.
And honestly, like, they probably couldn't have done much better than Gene Watson, who's got this young daughter and everything, where the stakes wouldn't have been the same if it were like, the first people that they wanted to, grab for this, where they were, in their 20s or 30s or something, where it's like, you need to find somebody who, I don't know, there's higher stakes for them.
Also, that couple didn't speak English.
Well, but that's why they didn't choose them.
Right.
Like that,
and he sees, he sees Gene as there's and I guess we're still in the era of like threatening skateboard punks here, where there's, threatening skateboard punks and who apparently decide to terrorize little girls and taunt them. So that's what spurs Gene on and to, step in and that's what makes Mr. Smith say like he will do anything for her.
Well, and as we see, he does more than what Mr. Smith thinks he will do.
Well, yeah, no, because he doesn't bargain on, right. He also thinks, and this is another piece where Johnny Depp is, I think, well cast here, is because he is that like a CPA named Gene Watson.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that like the looks need to be like, it can't be Alan Richson as CPA Gene Watson,
Mm-hmm.
It can't be that type. It's got to be somebody who looks mild mannered and who looks meek, but who you're also going to buy taking action, which, at this stage in the game, there's probably a few actors, who you could cast, but like Johnny Depp's a great choice.
No, I think he's fantastic. I also want to mention, like, this may be the greatest movie that features a scene where, like, it's implied that the main character is just taking a really long dump. Like, that's not something that you typically see in a movie of this nature, a thriller. And there's just that bit where it's just like, you know what? Christopher Walken's character just has to believe that, Gene's been going on for a long time. He was on the train with his daughter, probably doesn't have an opportunity to get away and like, drop a deuce.
Well, also the nerves. That's where the whole meek and the whole meek thing comes in, where it's like, oh, of course this guy is like, either like puking or shitting his guts out, right? Because he's so like tied up in knots and everything. So it does push it right to the edge of like, all right, Christopher, this guy with this experience should probably know better. But it is also just about the point where he's about to like kick the door open.
Well, yeah. And also he certainly has no idea what, Gene has been doing.
Because you would never expect that
Mr.
of
Smith
CPA
has
Gene
his back
Watson.
turned. No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, shout out to Marsha Mason, who plays the governor, Eleanor Grant. She's great, and also, like, I love that her story is that she's this governor who I want to say like was kind of on a more conservative platform, but has been kind of doing more progressive taking more progressive actions, and that's been like pissing people off. And
Right. The people who got her, bankrolled her campaign and got her elected, she's not following through on their expectations.
right. Yeah. Yeah. She's becoming more of a bleeding heart liberal than they were expecting. And
She's
that's,
too woke.
I think,
They got to put her to sleep.
I know. And so, watching it nowadays, and you can probably watch it at any time and feel like, oh, okay, like this is a story that resonates, a politician who is kind of flipping their
Did we not talk about Mr. Smith
stand.
Goes to Washington? It's a faithful story. It's a useful story type to go to. I'm drawing a blank at the technical term, but
right. Yeah, no, it's really fun. I think that it makes a lot of sense for the governor and for also you as the audience to align with her a little bit more and understand why she shouldn't be assassinated. I mean, they really do a good job of making everybody that's involved seem like, oh, you're a real scumbag. Got it.
Oh yeah. No, they really do. And before we move on from it, I do want to talk a little bit about the style of the movie because, of course, at the start of the episode, we talked about North by Northwest and Hitchcock, and of course, this is not a coincidence. This is definitely John Badham trying. Doing his best Hitchcock or his best De Palma doing Hitchcock. I
was absolutely, And so we were actually talking about doing another De Palma movie around this. And when we had decided on Nick of Time, I was like, I don't think that we should do that De Palma movie like right after this because,
And I knew it because, I think you had said that before I rewatched Nick of Time, and then I rewatched Nick of Time, and I was like, oh, of course we don't want to do. I mean, I guess because our next episode is going to be the letter M, and so we're not going to be doing Mission to Mars.
Right. We were talking about doing Mission to Mars, and I think that I even just said like, it'll make a lot more sense,
right?
When we're talking about Nick of Time.
And by the way, and if I can add, and I haven't seen Mission to Mars in a long time, but I'm pretty sure Nick of Time is more De Palma-y than Mission to Mars.
Probably, yeah. So, I mean, look, we've been doing plenty of De Palma recently. We can take a little bit of a break, and I'm very happy. And you'll talk about what we're doing on the next episode, in a little bit.
No,
but
it's great. It's great.
Yeah, this is very much John Badham trying to do De Palma and Hitchcock at the same time.
So many of the shots that angles,
absolutely.
Various like slow motion things, like I wrote Dutch angles.
Dutch angles. There might have even been a split diopter in there somewhere. They didn't do the split screen,
right?
Which I feel would have made sense to do in a movie like this.
And by the way, and this is why you always watch the credits, and I did not look in to see if there's any connection, but one of the credited cameramen on this is a Vito De Palma.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Huh. How about that?
I haven't looked into it, so
So it's technically a De Palma movie.
It is definitely. I mean, De Palma shot this movie.
Yeah, De Palma shot this movie. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Don't ask any follow-up questions. That's really funny. Vito De Palma.
It's totally the best. Like, because De Palma gets accused so often of aping Hitchcock that it's a director aping De Palma, aping Hitchcock.
Right.
And I feel like that's one thing this season has given me is I've thought a lot about De Palma and his work and actually how underrated it is for somebody who's such a successful director. But we're not talking about De Palma.
Yeah, we're talking about Vito De Palma, who, by the way, was first assistant camera in 1996 on a television series called Sisters. Ooh, spooky. Yeah, I was looking like, is there any connection? And I don't see any De Palma, Brian De Palma connections. He also worked on Far and Away, mostly TV stuff.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. fantastic.
Yeah, how about that?
Now,
Very fun.
All right. So, John, what we, and I guess, I don't know, do we need to sound the spoiler alert now if we're going to be talking about moving, like what we would do with this moving forward? Are we going to have to reveal some things about the ending?
I'm hearing that you will need
possibly
the
sound the spoiler alert because
spoiler alert.
Okay, so now that we've said that, even though Mr. Smith and Miss Jones all get what's coming to them at the end, I think Mr. Smith is shot and Miss Jones is arrested, or they get what's coming to them.
I think that Jones doesn't. I mean, I think she gets shot, but doesn't get killed by the shot. I think.
Smith gets killed, but regardless, the
justice is served.
Justice is somewhat served because one person walks away from this, and it's I guess we get the shady, this old man who's, I guess, the investor, the one who contributed all this money so that Eleanor could kind of help serve his interests as governor, and it was feeling disappointed, and who was kind of the mastermind, the one, maybe bankrolling all of this, including the governor's husband.
Right.
But this guy walks out at the end. He walks out of the hotel and he gets away. I'm not saying there needs to be a sequel, especially because this guy was like, I don't know, in his 70s then. I don't necessarily think there needs to be a sequel. I like the idea. I just wanted to kind of address that and just say, I kind of like the idea of like, you might get the soldiers, but the people running the war aren't on the battlefield, and they might walk away. Now, I think a remake of this would be fun. Yeah. I think it would work as a Black Mirror, like possibly like a Black Mirror, like a special, like a 90-minute thing. They could do it like they did it with that Bandersnatch, where you made decisions, and you could do something like that with it, and I think it could be fun. Modern technology might make it a little more difficult, but it also makes it easier because it's like tracking people. Also, I mean, having an iPad in that van would make holding a child hostage a lot easier. And I think you could rework it. I think you could set it modern day. I don't know that it needs to be like a movie. And I think that Black Mirror would be the best venue for it. If you were going to do anything expanding on this, I think, there's some interesting backstories to be told with the villains. And
also with Gene, what happened to his wife?
Oh God. Well, what did he do?
Soon to be ex-wife? What happened?
Oh boy. You know what it is? All I can think about is because I have rewatched My Blue Heaven recently. Is that all I can think of is that perhaps CPA Gene Watson is no fun and has a system for everything, and he has a system for eating pancakes.
What will be funny is if he was in another Nick of Time situation and his wife died, and so that raises the stakes for Lynn, his daughter. So a month prior to this, his wife was kidnapped, and he was put into a task where he had to either complete the task or save her life, and he didn't complete the task.
Right. And now it's like, it's another one.
Yeah. And then and then retroactively we call this Nick of Time another Nick of Time. I don't know.
John, that's a John Badham move right there.
Yeah, John Badham move.
Yeah.
E.
A John Badham move. E. Another Nick of Time. And I would still call him Gene. I still wouldn't call him Nick. I like in my remake, especially because it's not like this movie is like iconic.
No, you name the wife like Nicolette or something.
Oh, they're Ray Nicolette.
Ray Nicolette. Never mind.
Played by Michael Keaton. I would
Yeah,
watch it. All right. So the thing is, terminally ill and I want a divorce. That's my best Michael Keaton. There we go. It's not great.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that was
All
it.
right.
That was my best. So that's it. What would you do with this?
Well, I think that it should be a porn parody called Jack of Time. Anyway, if you have an idea of how you would want to revisit Nick of Time, email us ruinchildhoodspod@gmail.com. Go to ruinchildhoodspod.com.
Coming soon,
for
but
lots
not
of other
too
fun
soon.
Stuff. Yes. And 90 minutes.
Starring Sting.
Follow the show on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Spotify, all the other places. Leave us a comment, leave us a review. We love to hear from you. Watch the show on Spotify and YouTube and leave comments there. Dan, what are we going to be doing for our M movie that isn't Mission to Mars?
Definitely not Mission to Mars, but we are going to be covering another M movie by a legendary director, and that will be the 2003
legendary director.
Oh, damn, that was good. All right, a gladiator of cinema, if you will.
I've
We are
had
not
coffee
alien
recently.
to the films of Ridley Scott, and we will be talking about Matchstick Men, starring
You mentioned
Nicolas
Sam
Cage,
Rockwell before.
Nicolas Cage, Sam Rockwell, Alison Lohman, Bruce Altman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matchstick Men.
Beth Grant.
Beth Grant, yes. Great appearance by Beth Grant in that. So Matchstick Men, great 2003 gem. Can't wait to talk
Excited
about it.
to talk about it.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Well, Dan, as you are like getting chased through hotel hallways by Christopher Walken, I wish you a good journey.
Oh, as so often I do. Good journey.